Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Carolyn Talks. I'm your host, Carolyn Hines, film critic and journalist, and this is the podcast slash YouTube channel where I talk to film creatives from around the world about their work, the industry, and what inspires them. And this is one of my special interviews for the 2023 New York Asian Film Festival. And today I am joined by filmmaker Jin Ong to talk about his feature film, Abang Adik. And this film got me very emotional because it's about two brothers who found each other during the most trying times of their lives. And everything is not perfect because life is not perfect because these are illegal immigrants, some migrants living in Malaysia. And the film shows you how precarious their lives are there in Malaysia. And this is something that anyone around the world, if they're in a migrant family or an immigrant family, can relate to, especially if they're illegal, because there's a level of uncertainty that comes with the life of being an immigrant in another country. So the film talks about that, but it also talks about how things can go horribly wrong in an instant and how life changes vastly than anything we could ever anticipate. So I'm very happy to have director Ong to talk to me about this film. So thank you for joining me.
Hi, Carolyn. Thanks. You can keep sharing. I would like to listen.
I always like to ask my guests first to say a bit about themselves and what started them on their path to working in the film industry, because no one's path is the same. Everyone's life journey is completely different. So what's got you started on becoming a filmmaker?
Oh, wow, it's a good question. Okay, actually from the beginning, I'm working in a recording company, Sony Music. I'm doing music. Yeah. Until now, it's almost 20 years in Malaysia. Yeah. So from recording company to radio station and then come back to music industry again. Okay, why I want to start to do a film production? Because there's during 2008 that time, because our company is starting having a in-house artist management department. Since you have your own artists, then you must create a lot of things for them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like because we are not the production company, that's why if you keep your artist just waiting someone to call your artist to do the drama shooting or TV shooting, there's you need so long time. So on that time, I just think that, hey, why not I can learn myself? I go and learn how to do production, do the drama. That's why I starting to do the production is from TV drama, idol drama. We call in Asia idol drama at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been produced 4 TV drama. Then after the TV drama, then I changed to my first movie, film production. Yeah, this is the way that I do until now. Until now, I already produced about 7 to 8 feature film movie. So this is how I'm doing until now. Yeah.
See, I'm glad I asked because I would have never coming from working in the recording industry to film. I've never spoken to a director that had that exact background. So see, I'm always happy to ask a question like that. And it's actually, I was going to ask this question later, but I'll actually ask it now because it's a segue into talking about the film. I love the score for this film. I love how classical it is, and it doesn't push the film. I don't think it's emotionally manipulative for the audience. It's more about supporting the story and supporting the characters, and helping the audience. I always love it when the score for a film supports the story more than drives it, because there are some films where it feels like the composer and the director is trying to get the audience to emote with the film, to emotionally connect to the film, but in a forced way. The score for this film doesn't do that. And I love the violin. It's one of my favorite. It is my favorite instrument. And I love how it is featured very heavily in the score. So I want you to talk now about first thing first, finding a composer and working with your composer and your music director for this film, and finding I guess you could say, the musical identity for this film, because the music, I think, plays a lot. It's almost like a character in the film itself. So talk about working with the music and coming up with a music identity for the film.
Wow, I should record down because I actually said to Ryota. Yeah, his name is Ryota, my composer. Ryota is a Japan mix, Malaysia is a mix, and then Ryota also, he's staying in Malaysia. He also holding the red IC. Red identity card also similar like no identity card. You also don't have such benefit as a normal citizen.
Okay.
Okay. So Ryota, yeah, thank you. I just say thank you to you because the scoring almost killed him. Was his first time doing the film scoring, and then you know why I looking for him because he is an artist, he's a singer. He composed, he released a first album, but during the album launch is a pandemic. So he got actually he's quite alone, quite lonely, and then no family member, he's always alone, and then during pandemic, everybody is getting not good. So that time when I kick off this project, I just think that because I like his music a lot, I just think maybe you can try to. That's why I invite him to join this project to do the scoring. But he said, I don't know, I didn't. I said, never mind. You join me from first day when I kick off this project. You starting from production team to directing team. Then you go through whole process, you feel the story, you feel everything, then you start do the music. Then it will be the right for you. Yeah, he has been go through, and then until now, you are not the first one to mention about the scoring, the music scoring. I've been heard that during in Italy, some of the audience also because very impressive of the music. Then because I told you that because my background is from music recording company. That's why I'm also very sensitive and very particular in what kind of music I want to do, what kind of music is suitable apply to the movie. So I think I can say that between myself and Ryota, we have a lot of chemistry. That's why we work a lot of things. But because it's very tiny budget, so some of the instrument we are not able to afford. We cannot use the real one. We try to do but at last, as what you heard is, I'm actually, for me, it's very perfect already. Yeah.
So I have to ask because you mentioned, like, I think from now on, every film that we will ever watch would have been made during the pandemic. And I've been talking about this with a few filmmakers where being in the pandemic, especially for those who had to be isolated, like I had COVID twice and I had to self-isolate both times. So I think there's a very palpable sense of loneliness that other people who hadn't had to isolate or whatever can understand. But I want to ask you, if when you were speaking with Ryota about the script and like getting the feel of the film, if you guys talked about him bringing his own sense of loneliness into the score, because the thing about these two characters is about these two brothers is even though they're together, they're very lonely people individually. Like they feel very isolated because, for instance, Abang he has the most responsibility, so he feels, I think, a sense of loneliness and isolation from that because he thinks he has to carry the weight of their bond and their safety on his shoulders, whereas Adi, he's isolated because he's very reactionary and he doesn't really think about his actions, which is one of the things that leads to everything that happens. But he, in a way, I think, feels isolated from Abang because of that. Because so like they're together, they love each other, they have like such a profound love, but they're very lonely individuals. So I got that through the score. Like the score gives, and I think that's one of the things about the violin. The violin is so good at getting those kind of emotions conveyed. So did you speak to Ryota about bringing perhaps his own experience with loneliness and isolation into the score?
I think it's more. I mean, when he joined the project, I think the whole process is more inspired him to create the music, the score.
Okay.
Yeah, because he never do any kind of the film scoring. That's why I encourage him to join the project. Even all the rehearsal, you see, when the actors, the Abang and they do all the rehearsal, he's there.
Oh, okay.
So he feel directly. So he can understand the emotional. Of course, after the shooting, when we starting do the music, he also facing the challenging because there's so many type of music can apply in the film, right? So which particular instrument that he's supposed to do, but he know he want to do the piano and violin. And then I say, yeah, maybe you can show me what kind of thing. Of course, in between this, we also, my editor also is one of the very smart guy. He will provide some preference in the certain scene. He said, this scene, if you put this kind of music and then you will blah, blah, blah. So, because there's some of the preferences there, so it's make Ryota is more easier to get into it, to make the right things. Actually, the most difficult thing is the piano line. You know, I reject him more than 10 times. Only the piano line. You see, there's a piano line at the end. The violin part, the orchestra part, no problem. The piano, he say, hey, come on, director, what you want? I say, yeah, just do the right thing until I say yes.
Right. Okay. So you had these two particular standout instruments, the piano and the violin, which are I'm a kind of person that loves to find symmetry in things, and in this film, I think there's a lot of symmetry in there's twos and duos. So there's a piano, the violin. Both are string instruments, but in completely different ways. And I think I kind of see Abang and Adik the same, because they both inject a specific type of energy into the film. And so first I want to talk about the casting, because the casting for these two characters in particular has to work, because they have such a profound connection to each other, and they're not blood related, but these are two men who found each other as boys, and they had to go through life, the worst situations of their life as two young children, and they had to grow up. But one of the scenes I really want to talk about is one when it's the party for money for her birthday. And Jack and sorry, I was just gonna say Jack because the actor's name is Jack, but is Addie and Abang are dancing, and they're slow dancing, and then they just get really close together and they hug, but you can just see them communicating with their eyes. And there's so much chemistry that happens in there, and this whole conversation about trust me, I trust you, I love you, I always love you. Because just before that happened, there was a whole conversation about who, if Abang would ever marry and leave Adi, he has this idea in his head that he will get left alone. So talk about the casting, because that casting for these two characters has to work. And they're like the violin and the piano, same backstory, same. They have to play the same instruments, but they operate completely differently.
The dancing, right? The music, everything. Okay.
Yes, he's fine. He's wonderful. Go for
the language. No.
Okay. See you later. Yeah, actually, I want to talk about the dancing. Actually, that scene, when I'm doing the script, the scene is my favorite scene. My favorite scene. I took more than 8 hours to shoot that scene, because I only allowed to shoot per day 12 hours. I already spent 8 hours for that scene only.
Yeah.
So my AD almost killed me.
No, yeah, it was worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah, I like the. Carolyn, you watch very detailedly, and then you can share a lot of things. Then bring me back to that time when I shooting. Just now when I listen to you to describe the things and the music as well. So yeah, you the question is the two casts, right? Yeah, they actually because Abang is Taiwan from Taiwan. And that is a Malaysian. Okay. Of course, we do a lot of the meetup, online meeting, and then when he came early, and then stay in Malaysia, and then Adi, Jack, every day accompany him, just like a brother, stay together, and then to build the relationship between them, to get more closer. And then actually Abang Kang Ren, the real name Kang Ren. Abang is a very good actor.
Yeah.
He's very good, and then he's very experienced. And then he guide me. He teach me sometimes how to do it, because for me, I'm the first director. I'm very also. but he do a lot of things, and then we have a lot of rehearsal, especially for the sign language. The sign language.
Yes.
That's the hardest part in this movie. And then for Adi, because Adi is my artist, my in-house artist. He has been following me 13 years already. I know him. So based on this kind of the situation, so for me, I'm glad that we do a lot of the preparation, the prep, when we do a lot of things, and then we do a lot of rehearsal. So that's why when we are due on set, everything is going smooth, and then everything is very quick into the mood and the scene and the story and the character. Yeah. So the cast for me is okay so far. It's not so difficult. I mean, in the cast, the main thing is how to make the Taiwan actors look like Malaysian. Yeah. But for him, he self-prepared a lot of things. First day he came, he started sunburn every day under the sun. Yeah. So he's very professional. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know the actor Kang Ren, he's not that dark naturally. He's naturally skin. So when I was watching the film, I was like, exactly how much did he go to the tanning?
Yeah. It's every day, under 50 degrees.
Yeah. So we talked a bit about the chemistry. So the other thing about this story, like you mentioned, the character of Abang is Taiwanese and the character of Adi is Malaysian. So this is I think where the film is again as mainly centered around their experience as illegal immigrants and as migrants. And this is apart from the loneliness, there's also this sense of fear that's present throughout the whole film, because for people who are living in a country illegally and they don't have their papers, they everything is a risk. Every move they make is a potential risk, because they don't know if the person that is around them can sell them out to the police, to let the police know that they're living there illegally. If they take a job, they have to do it secretly. It's a job off the book, so they can't file for taxes. They can't file for income tax, so there's no benefits from that. They get paid under the table, which means they have to take the risk of being underpaid for labor, they're not protected by labor laws or anything like that. And then there is the sense of fear. And this is something that Abang really talks about at the end. And that scene had me, because he's like, my life is terrible. He's like, he's like, how can I have hope when everything about my life is terrible? Because not only is he an illegal immigrant living in Malaysia, but he's also a deaf and mute man. So that's being disabled in a society where he's already disenfranchised, where he's already being pushed to live on the outside of society. It's like, for him, it's like, what is there for me? So talk about making this your story about, first of all, I think a disabled character, because I think that's very important, but then also having a disabled immigrant, illegal immigrant, migrant worker as one of your main leads.
Yeah, actually, I try to, even the story is talk about the identity. Okay. And then because everyone is looking for the identity, including the money, the name, the transaction. She also need the identity that she are the real woman. Okay. For Abang Adik, of course, they need the IC. For the migrant or for the foreign worker, everyone need the identity. But for me, this story, this kind of the issue is a background. It's a background. The most important thing is I want to focus back to the human love. Actually, I always want to talk about the love. You know why? Because I think love is a very powerful thing.
Yes.
Inside the human. And then you see Abang can stay stronger because the love. He loves his brothers. He want to keep him well, and then want to stay together forever. Because in this world, they got nothing. They only have each other. Yeah. So the connection is very close. So that's why the background, because through their point of view, their angle, then you can see what happened in Malaysia of this issue. But for me, I'm not, because some of the audience share with me, say that how come this person like the social worker or the money, what is their other side of the story? Because I say, if I want to talk about the identity. There's a lot of things to talk. That's why I only focus to these two brothers.
Mhm.
I want to share the real message is love is the will to keep them survive. Honestly, yes. And then of course my intention is not to make people cry. Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. But at last, you see, actually, every time when I go through, especially when I'm doing the script, that stage, that stage when I'm doing especially Abang's dialogue, even it's a sign language, but there's a dialogue in the script. I feel sad as well because I say, how come there's people like can survive in this world? They're just like a soul in this land. They cannot go anywhere. When they are born here, they just stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very sad. It's a very sad, but I not consider this a sad story. At least at the end, there's a hope. You see, Abang sacrificed himself to make Adi to get a new life. So this is then you know the love from Abang is so huge. So this is the main purpose that I want to do this story, honestly. But for the identity issue, the social issue, the thing is just the background to support this story, to let maybe out of Malaysia, the audience out of Malaysia know what happened I believe there's the same issue in different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Even in Italy, everywhere got. But Malaysia situation is like that. The government, the government, the police, the immigration, everything you watch in the film is the real one.
Yeah. No, I understand you wanted to talk about the love because even in talking about the identity and the immigration and all of that, everything is tied into the love that Abang has for Adi because he keeps them going. Yep. When even Adi himself is frustrated, he's like the one telling him, we can do this right, like he's like, if you're making money, make money the right way. And he's doing that because he loves Adi, he wants the best for Adi. He doesn't want Adi to put himself at risk, he doesn't want Adi to stop his own chance of having a better future. Because as I mentioned, everything they do is a risk. But he's when he admonishes Adi, it's not because he judges Adi or he condemns, and he's like, I don't want you to get yourself in harm's way. He's doing this because he's like, I love you, and I don't want you to see you end up in a worse situation than we are now. So that's the other thing. And the love is the driving force for this film because I looked up the name of the film, the meaning, because I noticed Adi's name is just Adi, but the name of the film has Adik. So I was like, this has to mean something. So I looked it up, and in Malay it means basically brother, but also particularly older brother, younger brother.
Yes, right? yes, yeah. Give me a clap. Yeah, so when put together, it's a brother's meaning.
Yeah, so the story is about this brotherly love, and I think also this is another conversation I had recently is about a romantic love, but it's not like a sexual romance. It's like they have their love is just so profound and so deep and all encompassing. Like you said, Abang's love is so big. His love extends to everything surrounding Adi. He wants everything that he wants for Adi has to come from that love, and even in scenes where Adi is making fun of money, he's like, don't make fun of money because money helped us. Money has been helping us all these years, and he's doing that because he wants to show Adi a better way. He's like, don't make fun of people just because you can, don't do these things. He's like, I want you to find your father, not because I want you to leave me, but because I want you to find this part of your past. He's like, I want you to have I want you to have a love apart from me, because he's like, there's so much more love to give. But Adi kind of doesn't understand that. He thinks in his head that maybe Abang wants to get rid of him. But Abang is doing that because he's like, there's so much love to give. We can find someone else to fit in this pocket of love, which is your dad.
Yeah, because of in the story is we know what Abang did, what Adi did, but for each character, there's a story that I wrote for them. That because from the very, very before Abang meet Adi when they are small, supposedly Abang he want to die. Because parents is no longer already die in the fire. And then some more he cannot talk. So there's no point for him to keep surviving this until he meet Adi. And then when the first time he meet the younger Adi, he just sudden think that I need to protect this young boy.
Mhm.
So this young boy become the point to make Abang to keep survive.
Yeah.
Until now. That's why if you note that from the film beginning, I put two sentence a poem. The poem is is Shadow. I just put two sentence there because I want to mean that actually Abang's just like shadow. You know, shadow is always follow us.
Yeah.
It's like a shadow protecting Adi. So he always follow him. Even we know when you want to see the shadow only under the light. That's why the shadow is in the dark side, the love in the dark side. So it's very deep. But this is one of the point I want to bring up. But I didn't mention it so much. I just let the audience to catch what point he can understand. It's okay. But for me, Abang is sometimes I just also ask myself, is there this kind of people in this world, in this real world? Is there any kind of these people? Maybe yes. Who knows? Love can be anything.
Yeah, like you said, like for instance, for a shadow can't exist without light. You know, there has to be some source of light for a shadow to exist. And yeah, Abang is like that. He's this protective curving, but also he's the light to basically guide Adi because he wants him to do better. We have to wrap up soon. I have time for one more question. I want to ask you something with regards to language because as I said, like Abang is deaf mute, so he uses sign language, and I thought it was interesting that while he uses sign language, he also reads lips, and he has some sense of hearing left. But I noticed that Adi doesn't respond in sign language, and I wanted to ask you about the choice for having Adi not speak in sign language, but also about if it's a dialect, because I know there's regional dialects of sign language. Like for instance, Korean sign language is different to ASL and ESL. So is there like a particular form of dialect of sign language in Malaysia? And what was the reason for having Adi not responding in sign language?
Oh, okay. Okay. For Abang sign language, I just say that there's a different sign language. Yes, you're right. In Malaysia, the sign language teachers share with us say that if you are not so high educated, the people they're using different sign language. So like Abang's the background is a poverty. This is a poor family, so normally they are not have so much education. So the sign language is totally different. So, because it's a story of this character. When he's small, the parents before he died, they send him to the sign language, so he know a little bit. So he slowly learn. And then for Adi, of course, Adi is just normal. But because Adi met Abang, so Abang teach him. Actually, from the very beginning, when I do this character, Abang is not a mute. It's not totally mute. He still can listen, but but the family, the parents, is not healthy family. So there's some sick between the years, so he cannot listen, and then slowly become he won't talk.
Right.
So that's why. But he can know the lip sign because from the teachers share the information to me, right? Most of the part of the sign language people they can understand. As I apply this element to the Abang and Adi as well. So and then we get the advice from the teacher also. If these two brothers is staying very long time, so they actually even just eye contact, they also understand what they want to do.
Right. And so my very last question is before Jake comes and tells me go. So my very last question is, because this film is so much about love and so much about hopeful and finding hope even in the most darkest times, when has there ever been a moment throughout your entire filmmaking career where you felt like you were stuck, like maybe you were just like this, like, because filmmaking is so hard, it's so complicated, you're literally telling a story from nothing, you're building everything from the ground up. I always think filmmaking is magic because you got to create a whole world from basically nothing. So has there ever been a moment where you had to really inspire yourself, or maybe had your own personal abang to come and inspire you and say, you can keep doing this, Jen? Like, have you ever had an experience like that?
I think I have a good team. I have a great team to help me, even my DOP, my director of photography from India. My executive producer Shinjeli, also is a famous superstar in Asia. And then the cast as well. My first AD is a very experienced AD to help me, to guide me a lot of things. Even my hair, my stylish. You see, everyone is helping me. That's why I consider this project is very full of love, honestly, and blessing, because everyone is helping this project, because everyone is love this story. So since I'm the first time, even I'm producer before, but I try to open my heart to listen more and get more. That's why during the prep period, we do a lot of the discussion and rehearsal. That's why, because I know we have very tight budget to do the shooting day. We only allowed to shoot 25 days. So I cannot miss out anything during the shooting day. That's why we do a lot of things before the shoot day. So that's why I say it's a great team to make me more confident.
Yeah, it's a filmmaking endeavor. Like everyone has to come together and make the vision come alive.
But one more thing is, like doing the script almost killed me also. It's a God job. It's not a human.
It was a labor of love. It was a labor of love.
Okay, but I can say that when I wrote the last scene, when the last meet up, after I do, and I also cry when I read the script. I also cry on that time. Yeah, a lot of time. Yeah. But anyway, I'm happy the film we are done.
Yes, it has all ended, and now you have the fruits of your labor. This is there to show you. You're just like this was really love. I really love this script, so I'm gonna make this happen.
It's a blessing for that. Yep.
Congratulations to you, Jen, and to everyone involved with making this film. I think it's a beautiful film, and just like also like you truly got me in the feels. I was like, oh, poor Abang, poor Adi in the bus. I was like, hold it together, Adi. Hold it together. And Money, like they were all great. Thank you so much for speaking with me, Jen. And congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So hope to see you in future.
But I would love to, I always want to meet everyone in the future. Are you going to be at TIFF this year by any chance? Because I'm covering TIFF as well.
I'm awaiting the Toronto. See whether I got a chance to bring this film to Toronto or not.
Oh, they haven't made the decision as yet?
Not yet. In halfway.
Anyway, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, and we get to talk and chat in person. Yay!
Yeah, sure. But anyway, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, you. Nice to meet you too. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye-bye. Yeah, love.
Finger hurts.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.